This is Northern Depths, living louder than my fate.
Alright, so I decided for every Wednesday we're going to have a history lesson. Not a boring history lesson, a heavy metal history lesson. So today, I'm going to start with the birth of heavy metal. This is the Black Sabbath story. Every genre has an ancestor. Rock had Elvis, blues had Robert Johnson. Metal. Metal was born in a storm. In an industrial ghost town, in the hands of 4 outsiders. He had absolutely no business changing music forever. Tonight, we go back to the beginning, to Birmingham. To the darkness, to the band that took fear, chaos, and reality. And towards heavy metal from it. Black Sabbath. The world before metal. Before heavy metal, music was clean, pretty safe. Rock and roll wasn't brilliant, but it still smiled for the camera. But in Birmingham, a place drowning in factories, poverty, noise and danger, life wasn't safe. People worked brutal hours, accidents were normal. Dreams didn't grow, they rusted. This was the world Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler and Bill Ward were born into. A world that didn't inspire optimism but darkness. And out of the darkness came sound. The accident that changed everything. Tony Iommi, the man who would define the sound of metal, was never supposed to play guitar again. A factory machine ripped off the tips of his fingers. His dream should have ended right there. But instead, he adapted. He reshaped his guitar, detuned the strings, invented a new feel, a heavier, darker, slower renaissance that no one had heard before. Metal was literally created of a reckless accident. Sometimes the world tries to break you and you fall some history. What if we made music that scared people? Black Sabbath didn't want to sound like anyone else. They didn't want to smile for the radio. They wanted to reflect what their lives actually felt like. Dark, uncertain, overwhelming. Usually got what love brings in occult books. Ozzy's eerie, mournful voice becomes the centerpiece. Amy's tune guitar creates a fog of doom. Real World Stone becomes tribal, primal, like the sound of something awakening. Then comes the moment everything changed. They wrote Black Sabbath, the song. 3 months, the devil's interval. And suddenly music had a new emotion, fear. When the first riff echoed out of the speaker, There would have been no yet, but heavy metal had been born. What if we made music that scared people? Black Sabbath didn't want to sound like anyone else. They didn't want to smile for the radio. They wanted to reflect what their lives actually felt like. Dark, uncertain, overwhelming. Usually got what love brings in occult books. Ozzy's eerie, mournful voice becomes the centerpiece. Iommi's thin guitar creates a fog of doom. Real Stone becomes tribal, primal, like the sound of something awakening. Then comes the moment everything changed. They wrote Black Sabbath, the song. 3 months, the devil's interval. And suddenly music had a new emotion, fear. When the first riff echoed out of the speaker, there would have been no yet, but heavy metal had been born. The debut album that started it all. On Friday the 13th, of course, in 1970, Black Sabbath released their debut album, Rain Thunder, a haunting woman on the cover. Riff that sounded like the earth splitting open. This wasn't rock, this wasn't blues, this was something entirely new. Tracks like Black Sabbath, MIB, The Wizard, Behind the Wall of Sleep. This album was the sounds and a world marked at the same time. Critics hated it, fans loved it, metalheads were born instantly. This album didn't just push boundaries, it destroyed them. Paranoid, the explosion. Later that same year, they dropped Paranoid. That's like inventing a wheel and then inventing the engine 6 months later. War Pigs, Iron Man, Paranoid. These weren't just songs, they were global detonations. War Pigs exposed corruption. Iron Man created an immortal riff. Paranoid became the anthem of every outsider who needed a voice. The world had no choice but to acknowledge Black Sabbath were a band. They were a revolution. The Sabbath sound, what made it metal? Let's break down why they were the first true metal band. The guitar turned down to hell. Heavier, slower, meaner. Lyrics that face the darkness head on. More isolation, fear, reality. Ozzy's voice, the ghost that haunted the music. Not angry, not heroic, just painfully human. That was it. Thunder, doom, dread. Music that felt like walking through a nightmare. The rawness, no polish, no fake love, just the truth. This wasn't party music, this was survival music. The legacy, what Black Sabbath created. Doom metal, Hero Sabbath, stoner rock, thrash metal, born from Sabbath grit. Modern metalcore, Sabbath DNA with modern production. Without them, there is no Metallica, Iron Maiden, Pantera, Slipknot, Mastodon Ghost, and many more. Metal exists because Sparkus and Birmingham refused to pretend life was good. Black Sabbath didn't just scare a genre, they created an identity. A home for outsiders, a voice for people who feel the whole world differently. They didn't try to be heroes, they just told the truth. And the truth was heavy, and that's why heavy metal was cool. If Sabbath has shaped your life too, drop the story in the comments. Hit like and subscribe for more deep dives into metalology. And remember, heavy metal wasn't invented, it was summoned.
Thanks for diving into the depths with me. Stay loud, stay real, and if you're feeling this, hit like and subscribe.